Hi everyone, I quite fancied doing one of these floral designs from Worlds of Wonder, and I thought I would just do it with you on video. Now I have done one of them already. I think it was probably this one, but I'm not entirely sure. And I remember doing it in all blue, and then I did this page in my other version of the book with each floral group in a different colour. But this time I'm going to do something different, but I haven't really decided, to be honest, exactly what I'm doing. Let's just put the book across a little bit. So I think I'm going to start with this one because I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have started with that one. So it'll be different. I'm not sure if I'm going to do any more of these or just this one. Let's just try and get it into the middle for you. There we go. Let's try and flatten the book a little bit. There we go. So I'm just going to start and just see what happens really. Now I'm going to use my Polychromos pencils. They just happen to be the ones that are here. Yeah, and what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to start with the background and then base everything else on that really. So I'm going to use this chromium green opaque. It's a brand new pencil. I've just replaced my little one, and I'm basically just going to colour over the little dotted area that Johanna has drawn for us to indicate background, and this will be my sort of darkest green. I may do the florals in a slightly lighter shade, but I will make sure my sort of leaf work is lighter so that the background is sort of sits back a little bit. Hopefully it will anyway. Here I've got to guess a bit. There we go. I'm no good at doing straight lines. You could get a ruler. I don't have one in here. But you could get a ruler if you want it really straight. But I don't mind it looking a little bit more organic, you know. I'm thinking, I'm sort of imagining for this like flowers on a lawn. So this green is like sort of grass-ish. I mean, it's not really, but you know. That's my thinking. And yeah, so that's that. But I'm really just doing a few little videos for you, passing time before I get my Small Victories book, and then I'll be working in there for a lot, I can imagine. It's pretty exciting. I know some of you probably a little bit apprehensive by the size of it. There are certain pictures, and I looked at them and I went, whoa, that's going to be a challenge, to say the least. But we'll see what happens when it arrives. It's not always easy to tell just by looking at a flip through. Johanna's flip through I looked at, and she was going, oh, this is a thumbprint size. And I'm thinking, actually, look, that flower is a thumbprint size. It's not really too difficult for me to do. So it does depend on your own viewpoint as to what you find easy and hard, of course. But I think it'll be manageable. There was one circle design with flowers that was really intricate. And I'm not going to keep talking about it because I know that you guys might, I know some people like to wait until they get their copy and don't look at any flip throughs. So you might not want any spoilers. So I don't want to do that. I realise that this video is going out after the book has come out. But you may still not have got your copy depending on where you are in the world and how well deliveries are, because sometimes deliveries aren't on time. Not filling in that bit because it's part of that leaf. We do need to do that a little bit though. Yes, sometimes deliveries don't come on time. I have taken a risk and ordered mine from Waterstones because I ordered a book from them once and it came before the date it was due out, 3 days early. So woohoo! So that was very exciting. 3 days doesn't sound like much, but if you're anything like me, it feels like the world. And then the next time I ordered from them, it was so late I cancelled it and ordered it from Amazon. So, but they said the reason it was late was because they were moving their warehouse and everything was delayed. So I've taken a risk and I've gone with them again. This is Waterstones, by the way, for those of you in the UK who might be wondering. I'm sure they deliver internationally, but it's probably not worth it unless you're in the UK to order from them. So that's interesting. Also interesting, this isn't really a spoiler, for those of you who haven't seen the flip through, Johanna said that the book is sewn and glued in the American version as well as the UK version, and she's used the same paper for both. So I think that's interesting, because I know a lot of people in the US will wait and order the UK version because they prefer the paper and the binding. I was actually earlier just flicking through a copy I've got of Magical Jungle, which is actually a US version because I won it in a competition. It's a UK competition. I don't know why I got a US version, but anyway, neither here nor there. And some of the pages were coming out at the top here. Oh, you can't see. Yeah, at the top of the top, there was sort of a little group about 5 pages which were starting to tear. And and because I finished my books reasonably quickly, it probably helped. But you know, I can imagine if you've got a book on the go for a really long time, it's going to make it more and more vulnerable for pages falling out. So it's really good news that it's sewn as well as and the paper. I know she was struggling with paper, I think, on the last book. She said that the supplier she used just didn't have any more of that particular type, so she used the paper used in Kirby Roseanne's book, and a lot of people didn't like it. So I think she's gone with the UK paper, which obviously goes down well in the UK, so she's hoping it'll go down well in America as well, so that's interesting. So hopefully it will. I've always liked her paper, apart from her very first printing of Secret Garden, which I had. I was looking at that today as well, actually, and the paper was really yellow. It wasn't cream, it was really yellow. So flicking through it actually looks like it's an aged book, you know, which is okay, but it makes it tricky when you're trying to sort your colours out, I think, if it's, you know, too far away from white. Like here, you can see that's a white piece of paper and that's the cream book. It's not massively different. Anyway, the paper is also very odd. I don't really know how to describe it. It's almost got a sugar paper feel to it. It's got that sort of, it's got tooth, but not in the sense that Amazon paper does. Oh, I don't know how to describe it, but it was not very good. But subsequent reprints were done in better paper, but I think because the publisher were experimenting, they didn't know if her books would sell, they probably used a cheaper paper for that particular one. My colouring isn't being particularly neat today here, but we'll see. Okay, so I've just filled in that background really. I've done it quite plain, it's not particularly neat. I might go back over certain bits anyway. Now, I'm going to do the leaves next because I'm sort of concentrating on the green. I'm just checking my messages, but I haven't got any, so that's good. I can carry on. Now, I thought I would use this sort of olives. So this is the earth green yellowish. I'm not sure whether it's possible for you to see that. And I'm going to use that to start with on the leaves, and then I'm going to blend it into another colour, maybe 2, but they're quite small. We'll see how it goes. So I'm just going to start here, and I want to just put down my heaviest layer near to the flower and then start to fade a bit like that. I think actually we may only need one other colour. I'm just going to make sure it's neat. I want it to be neat. There we go. And then the next one. Now what I'm doing with this particular design is I'm going to do all the flowers the same colour and all the leaves the same colour. I think it adds a sort of neatness to the design. I won't do that in every square, in the sense that I will probably do every leaf and every flower within each square. So this one will have every flower the same colour and every leaf, but not the same colour as this one. I hope that you understand what I mean. My brain's a bit muddled today. I was going to make this video this morning, and then my son said he had some work to do and he kept getting distracted, so I kept having to stay with him and make sure he was doing it. But he's left early because the trains are all delayed and cancelled and all messy today, so I think there's a points failure at Swindon or something. I don't know, anyway. It was affecting everything. So he decided he'd get an early train just because he knew it was on the track, it was on the way, and he knew he could get it. So he thought he'd just grab it. So that means that I've now got a bit of peace in the house. My husband's working from home today, but obviously he's working, so he's not wanting to be disturbed anyway. So that's all good. So my other son decided to go into uni all day. He's only got an afternoon class. He wanted to go to the library and do some research and work on a few different things. So hopefully he's having some success there. He hasn't really been in touch with me very much, which is good. He's getting on. In fact, he might be getting ready to go into a class actually now, so that's okay. So yeah, they're all settled. My one son is just he's doing one was doing business studies, and he's had lots and lots of work to hand in already, little bits. One of his modules, basically the mark is made up of lots of little things. So this today by 3 o'clock he had to do a voice-over presentation. I'd never heard of what this was. Basically, it's like a PowerPoint presentation-ish, but you'd speak over each slide. He didn't make it in PowerPoint. I think they might have made the slides in PowerPoint, I'm not really sure. They had to sort of record the voiceover as well. I don't know whether you can do that in PowerPoint. I don't know. It's such a long time since I've done office-y work like that. I have no idea. Anyway, so he's got all the editing equipment because of him doing YouTube, and the microphone and all that sort of thing. So he offered to sort of do the final editing sort of stage of it, but also speak on it and help write the script and everything. He wanted to be involved in all of it really, which is good. And they had to, as a team of 4, sign a form to say they'd all equally worked on it. Unfortunately, him and one guy, there's 4 of them, did most of the work to start with, and they couldn't get hold of the other 2. One of them was very poorly, and the other one just hadn't been looking at his messages. So the other 2 suddenly said, well, I want to contribute, I want to have my name on this, I need the credits and blah blah. So so they did that, and they got together the other day and sort of pulled their weight basically. Not as much as the other 2 had done because they'd been working on it for a week before the other 2 decided to start, but they did enough, and my son and his friend aren't nasty. I'm quite happy for them to have the credits as long as it's good enough so that they get the credits as well, get a decent mark as well. So that's been submitted today. So he was working on that, but this morning he was doing some stuff on, oh, there's my son's train, I just heard it, the horn going. Yeah, it would be. Anyway, so they've handed that in, so he's hoping he'll do well. And he was, this morning he was doing some other things about, he's teaching them how to study, and it was saying which method do you use, this or this or this, and he's like, none of them, I don't do it that way, and all this. And it was, apparently there was this advice saying, do 4 drafts completely different, and then look through with the day apart, and then look through them and take the best one. And he's like, who's got the time to do that? I mean, it is for longer pieces of work. The piece of work they did, they only had 2 weeks to do it in. They haven't really got time for fiddling around with the first and second drafts and all that sort of thing. Now, on the tips of the leaves, you could go for a May green, which is a slightly lighter green, but I'm not. I'm going to go quite pale and go for yellow. This is the cadmium yellow lemon, and I find it goes really nicely with this green, and it would just make it a little more vibrant. If you see, I think hopefully you can see the difference between that one and that one. That I'll put a little bit more on. Hopefully you can see. So I like the sort of vibrancy and warmth that a yellow can really add. I'm not a big yellow fan when it comes to just doing yellow. I find that a little bit scary. I don't find blending yellow into yellow very easy, but blending yellow into green, I think it works pretty well. I was quite happy with the result, so hopefully this one will look okay. So I'm just going to go through all the leaves and just put quite a lot of layers on. Because of it being yellow, it's quite pale, and you know the polys are fairly hard pencils, so they need a bit of work and a bit of layering, but that's okay. Get good results. I recently did a picture, trying to think of it. I put it up on my page, but I'm not sure if you would have seen it yet. You know, I scheduled them, so I'm not sure. It was a Rita Berman page from her autumn book of some pumpkins. Now I thought it was all pumpkined out after Halloween, but her pumpkin page was so beautiful. I think she did it last year, to be honest, and shared the video again this year, you know. And it was just lovely, so I wanted to do one like it. So I copied, she'd done 3. There was a page with 9 pumpkins, sort of like this sort of page with 9 items, and she'd done 3 of them, so I copied the 3 that she'd done, trying to guess the colours. She uses Polychromos, so that helped me because I know my poly so well. I could guess what colours she was using, and then I did the other 3 that she hadn't done in those same colours. So basically, as I was using the colours, I just kept them out beside me and then just grabbed them for the others and used them, and I had such fun. And it's made me decide that I want to do a Chris Cheng picture soon, and I also want to do some more Morgan O'Brien where I'm copying his style. I think sometimes it just gives you a few different ideas for things to do, and approach things a little bit differently. Now I'm going to do the centres next. Again, I'm going to do them the same as each other. I'm going to, my flowers, I can tell you, are going to be orange. So the centres, I'm thinking a sort of maybe a delicate brown, slight gold or Naples ochre, because those are proper colours. I think I'm making up my mind as I go. I think I'm going to start with the brown ochre, actually. Oh, I don't know if that's readable. Go around the edge of the centre. I'm going to show you on a big one because it's easier for you to see, and then the small ones might be trickier. So basically putting down a layer around the edge, but what I want to do is to gently bring it in lighter so that it will fade into the other colour. So I want it a bit darker on the edge, a bit lighter as we come in. Now that's going to be tricky on this very small one here, but I'm just going to do my best and hope that it works. So this one I'm just going to literally do a line around because I can't do anything else. There's not going to be room for any other colours otherwise. So don't get too worried about it. If it's you can, the brown will work on its own anyway. Should I pull my sleeves up? I'm now feeling cold. Just pull them down again. Ooh. Yeah, my sister was saying to me this morning, "Are you cold?" I was like, "No, today I'm not." But I woke up with hot flash after hot flash, and so I had to put a cardigan on, and I couldn't bear it, and I threw it off and haven't put it back on since. So I don't know. But anyway, it's it might just be warm in here. But the heating, I don't know if the heating's on at the moment. It sort of goes on and off through the day, partly because that's how I've set it, and partly because it's on a thermostat, so if it gets too warm in here, it turns off. So it depends on, and the sun's coming in at the moment, so it might be warming the house up a little bit. Yeah, it's a bit of a change. We had the storm, I think, is it called Storm Kieran? I'm not sure. Anyway, we had the storm, but luckily it didn't really affect us too badly. Very lucky. This is the green gold, and I'm just going to extend. I want to leave a space. I'm going to put a Naples or ochre yellow in the centre. I'm going to go over the top of what I've done and just put a little bit more in the middle, still leaving a gap. It might look a bit goldish by the time I'm done, but I'm not going to leave a white bit. You know, when I make gold, I leave a white bit. I'm not going to do that. Excuse me. Yeah, I think this is one of my favourites of Johanna's books. It's difficult to name your favourite, isn't it? But Rooms of Wonder, her latest one, is not one of my favourites. it is, there's nothing wrong with it. It just, I mean, it's all very personal, isn't it? I just prefer this one, you know. I don't know, it's just the you know, in Rooms of Wonder we've got officey things and indoor things and chairs and books, and it's just not quite like the florals, you know. It's just me. Okay, I'm going to grab this. This is, what's this? The yellow light yellow ochre. I'm going to use that. I'm going to finish this off actually. I'm going to go all the way over it and just take it right to the middle. Now if I feel that I want it to be a little bit darker around the edge, I missed that one out. Never mind. I might get an even darker brown to go around the very edge, but I will see how it looks once I've done the orange flowers. Now we've got a fair range of orange in our polys, and I'm thinking maybe we'll do a few different shades of orange across our different flowers, not make them all exactly the same. So we might do some lighter than others. I'll grab the oranges in a minute and have a look, because I know we've got the cadmium oranges, we've got the orange glaze, and we've got a couple of chrome yellows which are very orangey. There we go, there's our centres. They look quite nice white, I have to say. I really think they're very pretty in white, but I'm going to leave them like that. So I think I'm going to use, this is the dark cadmium yellow, you can't see them. We've got the orange glaze, and we've got the cadmium orange, but we've also got the dark chrome yellow look, which is quite orangey to me. So, yeah, and then I've got the light cadmium red, sometimes a bit orange. I think that's too red. No, no, changed my mind. So those 4 oranges. Now I've also got terracotta and sanguine, which are quite orangey, and that brown burnt ochre. But I think we'll just stick with these. They're a bit more flower-like than those, because they're a little bit more brownish than these. These are more yellowy. So I'm going to grab the dark cadmium orange. You can't see the word dark because it's some sharpened off. And do some of them. So I'm thinking these ones that are a bit larger, I might do like that and just fade it a bit. We'll put a second orange on top. Not sure which one yet. Just fade it a bit. Don't have to leave any white. It's actually easier to blend, I find, if you don't leave any white. If you want to cover that whole petal, that is. If you want to leave a white bit, that's fine. But I mean, if you're trying to put another colour into that white, I find it just doesn't blend so nicely as if you just put the tiniest touch all the way to the edge. There we go. Now, I'm trying to decide which other ones to do like this. Maybe all of these 4 and that one all look very similar, so maybe I'll do those all the same. They are pretty, aren't they? Now, I don't know, I guess I was going to mention Johanna's competition, but I expect the closing date has gone by the time I say something, so it's probably not worth. I should promote it on my. Oh, a leaf. Did you notice? Did you wonder if I'd forgotten on purpose? There we go. I hadn't forgotten on purpose. I really had just forgotten. There we go. So I think of my Johanna's the favourite books of mine of Johanna's, this book, and Ivy. Enchanted Forest used to be one of my favourites as well, but I've coloured 2 copies and the miniature book, and there's flip throughs for all of those on my channel, including a comparison of my 2 large copies that I finished. at different times. You can see how I did pages in different styles and things. I just find that quite interesting to see myself. Because I've done so many of it so many times, and also in the planner, pictures in there and things like that, it's got a little bit too samey. And I'm sure I could return to it and really enjoy it again eventually, but at the moment I've done it too recently, if that makes sense. Whereas this one, I have finished fairly recently, I guess, but I'm happy to dive back in. But having only done one, and also these pages don't appear so often on planners and things like that. I think this year's planner had some from this book, but because the pages come from all her books, all of Johanna's books, then you don't get bombarded with lots of them. So next year we get some from Rooms of Wonder as well, which is quite exciting. It's nice having a few different ones. And I've also I've got the next year's planner and shared a flip through in case you've missed that. It was quite recent actually. I was waiting for it and waiting for it, and I had to get it to be shipped from Amazon US because I just couldn't find a copy, which was a bit annoying, but hey ho. Got there in the end. I've got a copy, and they're the same actually, the planners. I don't know about the paper, to be honest, but the actual inside, the dates and things are the same. They have both US and UK holiday dates and things like that in there. So I don't know if they have Australian ones too. Not sure. I've got one beside me. I was just looking, but I can't see. The page that I've got it open on has no dates in at all. It has dates, no date occasions, no dates, holidays. That gap there I think should be in this dark green. It's the background bit, isn't it? There we go. So that's all I'm going to do with the dark cadmium. And I think I'm going to grab the orange glaze now and do the smaller ones. It needs a sharpen. Ooh, pencils are running away. Don't know where they're going or what they're running away from. Maybe the sharpener. I think I'd run away from a sharpener, wouldn't you? So this is, sorry, as I said, orange glaze, being silly. And I think I do all of the rest with this one. And then we'll have sort of, because there's so many of these the same, then we'll have sort of two clusters of different, slightly different oranges. I think it'll sort of make sense. Not overly contrived, but slightly. Perhaps it is. Anyway. So just fading towards the edge of the petals. Rushed that one a bit, made it messy. Had to go back and tidy it up. So a lesson to be learned there, isn't there? I've actually been colouring a bit less this month so far. I know I need to get a newsletter out as well. Maybe I've already done it by the time this goes out. I probably will do it maybe this weekend. Anyway, but yeah, I've been colouring a bit less. I've been really tired from the clock change, so I haven't been doing so much in the evenings. I've also been doing pictures that are a bit more complex and spending a bit more time on them. So I don't know how many completed pages I will get in the end, but it doesn't really matter. To me anyway, you know, I just do what comes, what works. You know, the husband has just gone downstairs. I think he's having some lunch. It's 1:10. I had mine, but I might go and get a drink. I'm not sure if I've got a drink next door that I forgot to drink. Now I'm trying to work out what that there is a bit of this petal. So I need to just grab a little bit of the dark cadmium orange. I'm not showing you because you can't see the name anyway, and pop it there. Now I don't know whether I'm going to do the rest of these with you with different colour combos or just do them on my own. It's tricky to know because with Johanna's book coming out, I think everyone's going to want me to do stuff from there, and I'm going to want me to do stuff from there too. I did get asked to do cover to cover, and actually someone asked me today if I could do, I think it's Maria Trolley's Universe, if I could do the whole book. So, phew, I don't know. That seems a lot. So I'm not sure about that, but we'll see. I shouldn't think I will, because I often colour pictures on my own, not always on video. So yeah, I like to colour sometimes when I'm watching TV, depends what's on. It's my favourite programme, I don't. If it's a quiz, I often do, because the quizzes are really slow. They spend too long talking to people and asking them questions about their life and things. I'm like, just get on with the questions. I just want to answer the questions. And then they spend too long. What did you say? What did you get? No, this is the cadmium orange. I'm going to do these large ones that we did with the dark cadmium orange. I'm going to finish them off with this one. I can hear addition spoon. My hearing is, I don't know, I'm always being accused of going deaf, but I can always hear addition spoon. It's really, I don't know why, I can always hear it. So if someone's snuck down to the kitchen to have some cereal, I can always hear. And even next door through the wall I can sometimes hear addition spoon. It's very odd. That one isn't this colour, so yes, I don't know. I think it's just obviously to do with the particular frequency of sound, or the pitch, or the tone, or whatever the words might be. You know, it particularly easy for me to hear. Whereas when my son talks to me in his very low, grumbly, mumbly voice, I sometimes can't hear him at all. Especially if I'm standing next to the kettle that's boiling. I'm often standing next to the kettle. I used to get called a tea bag. I was always drinking tea, but now I drink coffee a lot more. It's since I've become lactose intolerant, I don't really like tea with soya milk in. Is nasty. And it's nice with oat milk, but I don't have oat milk that often because it hasn't got the this one, isn't it, the same amount of protein in. It's not so healthy, so I drink soy milk in coffee. It's fine, because coffee's got such a strong flavour, it tends to mask it a little bit. I mean, it's still an acquired taste, definitely, and it's still not as nice as dairy milk, but I just can't. Dairy milk makes me feel really sick, so I don't enjoy that. Some people would just put up with it anyway. I know people with intolerance to dairy just have it anyway because they like it, but not for me. I don't like feeling icky. So this is the dark chrome yellow that we're going to use to finish off our last flowers. And then I think I want to do a few finishing touches, but I can't decide what to do. I'm thinking about that. I tell you my thought process, and then you can decide. Maybe you might want to do something different to me. The background has got little dots on it. Shall I go over those dots, not accurately, but just do some more dots with a yellow Posca pen or a white? Should I do some dots in the centre of the flowers with, again, either a yellow or a white? Or should I put dots on the leaves? No, all the petals, probably not the leaves. Or should I do no dots at all? Oh, another train going by. They've been cancelling them here left, right and centre, so obviously some of them are still running. Now the difference between the oranges on these ones is quite subtle, I think, but enough for me to notice, but not far enough away for them to look like they're really different, which I think is a good thing. So I'm really just going over the whole thing, but because of the way you layer up the Polychromos, you can still see the darker one underneath. It can fade it a bit. If you press too hard, you might have to go back in with a bit more dark. I definitely feel like it needs something. I'm just going to sharpen my pencil that I use for the background. This was, remember, the chromium green opaque. Ooh. And I'm just going to go over a few areas to just neaten it up a little bit and fill in a few bits that I feel need a little bit going on there. And sort of fill in some gaps where I haven't been very neat with my colouring. Always happens to me. I think as I go so fast. Nearly there. And then I've decided that I'm going to risk it and get a yellow Posca and do some dots in the background. The idea really was the background would sit back, but I don't know, I think some dots might just make it a bit more interesting. Or, actually, changing my mind now, I'm going to do them orange, and then they'll look like they might be flowers, like these orange flowers, because I've got an orange Posca. I think that might work better. Now if you don't have Posca, you can use the gel pen, but do use your test page at the back of the book to make sure it doesn't soak through the paper. It's worth remembering that even if you've got the same version of the book as me, the paper might be slightly different. So it's worth checking. I'm just going to go and get some pens. I just brought a few of my Poscas in that I thought could potentially work with this picture. So this is my yellow. It's quite bright. I think that one is going to work if I want to use that. This one I think is a little bit too wishy-washy. This is the apricot. I think it's a little bit pale, but I might try it. This is my orange. You can see it's really bright. So if I want to do the background, I think that one. There's my white. And this is a sunshine yellow. It's sort of pale. So I'm sort of torn between yellow and orange. I am actually going to use the yellow for the flowers centres. I've decided what I'm going to do is do some dots around the edge, I think. Just activate it a bit on some scrap paper. There we go. That's better. Sometimes it can be a bit watery when you first start because I haven't used it for a while. And the paint sort of separates, that's why you shake it. I think I'm just sort of going to go around the edge here. Maybe where those dots are too. Around there. This one. It sort of softens the centre as well, where that black line is. And, oh, I think, did I miss one out over there? No, I did it. It's tricky to see because the light is catching some of them and some of them are still wet. And I've decided, going to experiment with the orange. So you can decide if you like it or not. So this is just called orange. If you don't have Poscas, as I say, you can use gel pens. It's actually darker than I thought, and I think that's a good thing. Now I'm trying to just put it in the background, not on top of the stems or leaves or petals or anything like that. That's showing up a bit brighter. I think it wasn't coming out properly to start with. I don't know, it might just be the way it's catching the light. Not sure. I'll put a bit more down anyway. As I say, try and avoid going out of the lines. I know going out of the lines is my thing, which is why I'm hardly breathing, concentrating. Oh, I heard my husband's put the kettle on. He's making me one. I'll go and get one in a minute. It won't take me long to finish this. But what I feel is now, for every background I've done, I probably, for each of these, I'm probably going to have to do some dotting, or else it's going to look a little bit odd if this is the only one. I don't even know if you can really see that on the camera. Just adding the old few, just making sure it's even-ish. There we go. What I am going to do though is grab a white and do a little bit of work in the centres of the flowers, because I want them to stand out a little bit more. So where I've already done the yellow, I'm just going to do some white as well. And it will just help to draw your eye, hopefully, into the flower centres. See, I'm putting a bit more on than I did with the yellow. It's going to stand out a bit more. It's fun, this. I'm just quietly enjoying myself, not talking. There we go. Okay, so I think I am done now with that one. So that is that. So I'm sure you've probably seen me use this colour combo quite a lot of times before, but it's always nice to show you again. So thank you so much for watching. Please drop a like, comment, subscribe. All those things really helps the channel, and I really appreciate it too. So thank you for all of those of you. I know some of you comment every time, and I really appreciate it. Lots of you like as well. I know liking is a lot easier than commenting, and that's brilliant. It all helps, and thank you to all of you that have subscribed as well. Thank you so much, and especially to those that are members. I really appreciate that. That's so kind of you. But I know you can't all do that, but those of you that do is very much appreciated. And everyone's efforts are, for you follow me, like me, wherever I am on different social media. I really appreciate it. So thank you. Have a super, super day, and happy colouring.